She stood in the doorway with the kind of calm that burns hotter than a scream. Her lipstick wasn't smudged. No, it was perfect. That deep crimson shade she only wore when she wanted to feel dangerous. Her eyes locked onto mine like I was a stranger in her house, like the last few years were just an old movie she barely remembered. She leaned in, close enough for me to smell his cologne on her jacket, and whispered, "I'm better off without you." Then she walked out. No tears, no hesitation, no goodbye, just the echo of her heels across the hardwood and the slow click of the door as it shut behind her. I didn't chase her. I didn't yell. I didn't even breathe for a few seconds. But I swore something in that silence, that whatever door she thought she closed on me, I'd make damn sure it never opened for her again. Let me rewind 48 hours. That's when everything started to shift. Her name's Madison. Everyone just called her Maddie. The type who could flirt with your father and your best friend in the same hour and still convince you she was just being friendly. I fell for her hard. She made falling feel like flying. Until I hit the concrete. I was getting ready for work on Monday morning. She said she had errands to run, bank, dry cleaning, a lunch meeting. Except she didn't take her laptop. She didn't take her planner. What she did take? That perfume she said gave her migraines. And she wore that red bra. The one she told me she only kept for nostalgia. Nostalgia for who? At lunch, I tried calling her. No answer. A couple hours later, I checked the Find My Phone app on my tablet. That's when I saw it. Her phone pinged from a hotel on the east side of town. I remember just freezing, sitting there with a half-eaten sandwich and a phone in my hand like it had just turned into a weapon. My thoughts weren't racing, they were dead silent. There's a kind of stillness before a storm that tells you everything is about to be blown apart. I didn't go there. Not yet. Instead, I waited. I needed to be sure. Needed proof. I needed to give her the rope, so she could hang herself with it. That night, she came home late. Said her lunch ran long, and then she had to meet a friend for coffee. She didn't know I knew. That was her first mistake. I looked into her eyes and smiled. Sounds like a busy day. She grinned. You know how it is. That smile, God, it made me sick. I kissed her on the forehead and whispered, I do now. And she had no idea what I meant. By the next morning, I had screenshots, GPS logs, even a front desk manager who remembered her checking in under her maiden name. But I wasn't going to just throw it in her face. No, Maddie liked games. Fine. I could play too. That night, I left early from work. I got home before her. And I waited, shirt off, cold drink in hand, sitting on the couch like I didn't have the storm of a lifetime building in my chest. She walked in, laughing at something on her phone. She looked up and froze. What are you doing home early? She asked. I smiled. Thought we could talk. Her eyes darted. Her thumb hovered over her phone like she was about to send an SOS. About what? About how I know. Silence. Maddie, I said calmly. Which was better, his hotel or the one you dragged me to on our anniversary? Her face. You should have seen it. For the first time in our marriage, the queen of comebacks didn't have a single word. And then, she shrugged, actually shrugged, and said, maybe you shouldn't have been so boring. That's when I knew. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't ashamed. She was gone. But I wasn't broken. Not yet. She sat on the arm of the couch like it was hers now, like I was some pathetic ex she pitied. I didn't plan to tell you tonight, she said, as if that made her betrayal noble. But I guess this saves us both time. I didn't move. Just watched her, every blink, every twitch in her jaw. That fake confidence was already cracking. You always did love shortcuts, I muttered. She tilted her head. Don't act surprised, Tyler. You haven't touched me in months. That was her justification? That I hadn't been her personal fan club lately? That I was too busy building a life for us? Maddie, I've been working 12-hour days trying to keep us in this house while you've been. What? Taking spa days in hotel beds? She chuckled, actually laughed. At least someone noticed me. You used to worship the ground I walked on. Now you barely look up. I stood slowly, felt the weight of years press on my chest, but I stayed calm. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me crack. That's because the ground turned into quicksand. And I was too stupid to see you were the one dragging me under. She stood too, grabbed her purse like this was a regular Tuesday night out. I'm not staying. I've been sleeping at Jordan's for a week now. Jordan. Not even him. No hesitation. Just the name. Like I was the last to know in a bad joke that had gone on way too long. Jordan. I repeated, letting the name coat my tongue like poison. The guy from your office? The one you said had a girlfriend and wasn't your type? She rolled her eyes. Don't be dramatic. Things change. No, Maddie. People reveal who they are. You just finally stopped pretending. She opened the front door halfway, then turned back to me. I'm better off without you, she whispered, that same smug half-smile curling at her lips. You'll realize that once you stop crying yourself to sleep. But I wasn't crying. I wasn't even blinking. I was making a mental checklist. She left without another word. And that's when I walked over to the door, placed my hand on it, and locked it from the inside. Not just the bolt. I changed the code on the smart lock that night, deleted her fingerprint. I went through every drawer, every closet, grabbed every trace of her existence, and packed it all up. Boxed her out of my life like she was a power outage I never wanted to fix. And I didn't just stop there. The next morning, I called the bank, froze the joint accounts, changed my passwords, took her off the car insurance, blocked her from the Wi-Fi, killed the streaming services she'd been leeching off. I didn't even care if she noticed. It wasn't about revenge. It was about removal. She'd made her move. Now I was making mine. But even as I crossed her name off every digital connection in my life, I couldn't erase the sound of her voice in that moment. I'm better off without you. I heard it over and over again, like a damn echo in my brain. But the more I heard it, the clearer my response became. Fine, then don't come back. Because if she ever knocked on that door again, if she ever dared to try, I'd remind her of that whisper. And the silence I gave her in return. That silence wasn't weakness. It was my final answer. 2 days passed, and the house felt heavier than ever. Not because she was gone, but because the silence wasn't peaceful. It was screaming. I'd wake up and still half expect to hear her humming in the kitchen, burning toast, and blaming the toaster like it had a personal vendetta. I'd glance at the phone waiting for a message, even though I knew damn well there wouldn't be one. I hated myself for it, for still craving anything from her, even anger, even a lie. But nothing came. Not until Friday night. That's when I saw her name flash on my screen. Madison calling. I stared at it for a full minute. I wasn't ready to hear her voice again, not sure if I'd scream or laugh if she spoke. I didn't answer. A second later, a text came in. Can we talk? I just want to explain. Explain? Like this was some misunderstanding? Like I imagined her perfume reeking of another man's cologne? Like the hotel receipts and the half-buttoned blouse meant she was just thinking things through. I left her on read. She tried again the next day. I left some of my stuff. Just let me pick it up. No drama. No drama. That was rich, coming from a woman who detonated our marriage and walked away like it was just Tuesday. Still, I boxed everything she left behind. Her shoes, her hairbrush, the framed photo of us in Vegas she must have forgotten to burn. I stacked the boxes in the garage and changed the code on the door. I left one final message. Your things are in the garage. I won't be home. Take them and leave the key. She replied with a single word. Cold. And for the first time in weeks, I smiled. Good. I went out for a walk that evening, just to clear my head. Halfway down the block, I saw her car parked across the street from the house. She was inside, engine running, just sitting there, watching. I didn't flinch. I walked right past like she was invisible, like she'd never existed. And that seemed to shake her more than any fight ever could. She honked once. I didn't turn. Honked again. I kept walking. Then silence. When I got back 2 hours later, the boxes were gone. So was she. But she left the key, snapped in half in the mailbox. Real mature. Later that night, my best friend, Logan, came over with a bottle of whiskey and a look on his face like he'd just walked through fire. She told people you cheated first, he said, pouring a glass. Said you'd been cold and distant for months. That she tried to save things. I let out a short laugh. She say why she was saving them at the Holiday Inn. Logan winced. I told her she was full of it. But Tyler, not everyone's going to see it that way. That's when it hit me. She wasn't just walking out. She was rewriting the story, making herself the victim, turning the knife and painting me as the one who twisted it. But I wasn't going to chase people down and beg them to believe me. Let them think what they want. I knew the truth. And so did she. That was the only story that mattered now. 2 weeks. That's how long it took for the first rumor to reach my mother. She said you hit her. My mom whispered on the phone, voice trembling. That she had to leave because she was scared. My hands clenched around the phone so hard I thought it would snap in half. What? She told Aunt Lisa. And now it's going around the family. I told them that's not true. But, Tyler, you know how people talk. I couldn't even breathe. Madison hadn't just burned the bridge, she was planting landmines in the ashes. I was still pacing the kitchen when Logan called. Check her Instagram. I pulled it up, and there it was. A photo of her and Jordan on a boat, drinks in hand, that same smug smile on her face. The caption? Real love doesn't hurt. It heals. I stared at it. The likes piling up. The comments like knives. You deserve better, girl. So proud of you for walking away from toxicity. Upgrade Queen Fire. She wasn't just lying. She was branding me, making sure I was the villain in every room she entered. And yet, part of me felt nothing. Because this was the final confirmation. She hadn't walked away with regret. She walked away with a plan. The next few days, I started noticing subtle things. My favorite hoodie missing. My spare car key gone. My Netflix profile deleted. Petty? Sure. But that was Madison. She wanted control, even over the scraps. So I did what I had to do. I hired a lawyer. Nothing dramatic. No lawsuits. No threats. Just a clean cut, with everything documented. I wasn't giving her the chance to twist anything else. The lawyer looked over the documents and leaned back in his chair. She's going to expect a fight. Don't give her one. Give her silence. That's scarier. And he was right. I stopped reacting. Stopped replying. Stopped explaining. Because when you stop feeding a fire, it dies. But that didn't mean I was done feeling. Some nights, I'd wake up in a cold sweat, heart pounding like I'd run a marathon in my sleep. I'd think I heard her voice. I'd see her face at the doorway again, whispering those words like a curse. I'm better off without you. Other nights, I'd remember the good moments, vacations, birthdays, the time we danced in the kitchen with no music playing. And I'd wonder if any of it was real, or just a mask she wore long enough to get what she wanted. One night, I drove past the old coffee shop we used to go to on Sundays. It was closed, dark, empty, just like our marriage. And for the first time, I didn't feel rage. I felt peace. Because I was starting to understand something. She didn't destroy me. She revealed me. The man I'd become trying to keep her happy wasn't me. I've been until I broke. And the version of me she left behind? He was stronger, smarter, meaner maybe, but in all the right ways. This wasn't a heartbreak story. It was a rebirth. And when she texted one last time, weeks later, do you ever think about what we had? I replied with a single word. No. Then blocked her for good. Months passed. Seasons changed. But her shadow still lingered in small, stupid ways. A sweater I forgot to donate. A voicemail I never listened to but also never deleted. Her perfume scent still faint on the back seat of my car. It hit me like a sucker punch every time. But I didn't crumble. Not anymore. I was rebuilding. Gym 5 days a week. Joined a boxing class, not to fight her ghost, but to remind myself what it felt like to hit something back. Started reading again. Cooking for myself. I even fixed the leaking faucet in the bathroom that she complained about for a year. Turned out, it wasn't that complicated. Just like her. The truth is, healing doesn't come in waves. It comes in needles. Sharp, sudden pricks. Random moments when your breath catches because something stupid, like the smell of cinnamon or the sound of a certain song, pulls you backward into the fire you already walked through. But I walked anyway. And then came the email. Subject, closure? I shouldn't have opened it. But I did. She wrote like a victim. Like someone who'd just gotten lost for a while. Said she missed our talks. Said Jordan wasn't what she thought he was. Said things between them moved too fast. Of course they did. Parasites don't pace themselves. The part that got me? I think about the version of us that still could have made it. I still have your sweatshirt. It smells like home. I didn't reply. I didn't even finish the message. Because I was home now. Alone maybe, but finally safe from the wreckage she left behind. That weekend, I went hiking. Alone. Just me and silence. This time the good kind. Wind in the trees. Boots on gravel. No one asking for anything. No one lying through their teeth with glassy eyes and fake tears. I reached the top of the trail and looked out across the city. My city. My life. My time. And I realized something so simple it made me laugh out loud. She didn't leave me broken. She left me clear. Clear about who I was. Clear about what I'd never tolerate again. Clear about the kind of love I deserved. The kind that doesn't come with ultimatums, secrets, or betrayal in a red dress. So when I came back down that mountain, I deleted the last voicemail. Tossed the last photo. Burned the last sweater. Not out of spite. Not even revenge. Just peace. And if she ever comes back again, knocks on my door with some sad little story and that manipulative tilt of her head, I won't scream. I won't argue. I'll simply say, the door you closed never opened again. And I'll mean it. 6 months to the day. That's how long it had been since she walked out with that whisper on her lips and a knife in her smile. I hadn't heard from her in weeks, not directly anyway. But people kept trying to drop her name into conversations like it was harmless. It wasn't harmless. It was shrapnel. Logan and I were grabbing a drink when he said it. Casually. Too casually. I heard she broke things off with Jordan. I didn't even look up from my glass. And he shifted in his seat. And she moved out. No one's seen her since. Apparently, she's staying with a friend in Chicago. I laughed once, sharp and short. She'll fit right in. Plenty of strangers to lie to. But later that night, as I sat alone in my living room, I caught myself staring at the blank space on the wall where our wedding photo used to hang. I didn't miss her, but I missed who I thought she was. The version of her I'd built in my head, the loyal partner, the one who had my back, the one who smiled like she meant it. That version never existed. And that realization, as bitter as it was, finally felt like closure. Until she showed up. It was a Tuesday. I'd just gotten home from work, grocery bags in hand, keys in my mouth, struggling with the door. When I finally pushed it open and stepped inside, I froze. She was sitting on my couch, like she belonged there. Her hair was different, shorter, darker. Her eyes were swollen, like she'd been crying for days. But I didn't feel sorry. I didn't feel a damn thing. How did you get in? I asked coldly. I still had a spare. I know I shouldn't have. I just needed to see you. I set the bags down slowly. You needed to see the man you humiliated? Lied about. Accused of things I still have to deny to my own family. She stood. I'm not proud of any of it. I stayed silent. I was angry. I was stupid. I thought Jordan was. I don't even know what I thought. He used me, Tyler. He treated me like trash. And I kept thinking about you. About how safe I felt with you. About how you looked at me. I used to. I interrupted. Not anymore. She took a step forward, cautious, like she was approaching a stray dog she thought might bite. I'm not asking to go back. I just wanted to say sorry. Really, truly sorry. No, I said. You wanted to be forgiven. She blinked. That hit her. She looked down at the floor. Do you think maybe we could talk someday? Not now. Just someday. I walked to the door and opened it. The same door she walked out of months ago. And I stood there, waiting. She looked at me like she wanted to say more. But she didn't. She picked up her purse, walked past me slowly, and paused at the threshold. I thought she might whisper it again. That cursed phrase. But she didn't. She stepped outside, and I said it for her. I'm better off without you. Then I closed the door. Locked it. Twice. The click of that lock echoed through my chest like a full stop. Final. Unapologetic. Not dramatic, just necessary. I stood there for a second, hands still on the doorknob, listening to the silence settle. It wasn't the heavy kind anymore. It was light. Clean. The kind of silence that doesn't scream at you. It lets you breathe. She was gone. Again. But this time, I wasn't the one left behind. I wasn't the broken man she thought I'd stay forever. I turned back toward the living room. The air felt different, like something toxic had just been pulled out by the roots. I poured myself a drink. Nothing fancy, just whiskey on ice, and sat on the couch where she'd been moments ago. I didn't need to sanitize it. She hadn't left a mark this time. The next morning, I went to the spare drawer where I kept the last bits of her. Old letters, photos, the anniversary card she wrote me the year before everything started unraveling. I dumped them all into a box, carried it straight to the fireplace. No speeches, no ceremony, just fire. I watched the paper curl and blacken, her handwriting disappearing into ash, the smiling faces melting into nothing. That fake anniversary love note, the one where she wrote, forever, no matter what, burned the slowest. But it burned. Afterward, I showered, put on a clean shirt, stepped outside with a confidence I hadn't worn in years. And people noticed. The barista gave me a second glance. The guy at the gym actually smiled instead of just nodding. I wasn't dragging chains anymore. I was walking like a man who'd survived a personal war and lived to rebuild. The truth? Her betrayal was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it stripped everything away. The illusions, the fantasy, the comfort that had become a cage. It forced me to face myself, raw, furious, humiliated, and rise anyway. A month later, I started dating again. Nothing serious. No promises. Just me, showing up as I am. No masks, no fear. And it felt good to sit across from someone new, someone with no memory of the wreckage, and actually want to be known again. One night, Logan asked me over a beer if she ever really begged, like really broke down and asked for a second chance. What would you do? I didn't even blink. I'd thank her. He frowned. Thank her? Yeah. For leaving. For lying. For showing me exactly who she was before I wasted another year, hoping she'd be someone else. He nodded slowly, finally understanding. Because sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is also the exact push you need to become the man you were meant to be. And if she ever stands outside that door again, wondering if it might still open, she won't find anger. She won't find hope. She'll find silence. And a lock that never remembers her name. It was late autumn when I finally stood in front of the mirror and didn't see a broken man anymore. No shadows behind my eyes. No anger tightening my jaw. Just me, flawed, changed, but whole. The past wasn't something I ran from. It was something I carried in scars, in lessons, in fire-hardened skin. Madison had taken pieces of me when she left, but I replaced each one with something stronger. Something she couldn't touch. That door she walked out of, it stayed closed. Not just because I locked it, because I outgrew it. She sent one last message weeks later. No subject, no greeting, just 4 words. Do you hate me? I stared at the screen. No anger, no satisfaction, just clarity. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't have an answer, but because she didn't deserve one. Hate is heavy, and I didn't carry dead weight anymore. That was the real ending. Not the day she left. Not the moment I burned the photos. Not even the silence that followed. The real ending was the day I stopped needing closure. Because I was the closure. And if you're reading this, if you're where I was, sitting in the rubble, wondering how you'll breathe again, hear me clearly. You will. Not all storms are meant to destroy you. Some come to clear the path. She whispered, I'm better off without you, and walked out. But I didn't just stay quiet. I rebuilt the world behind that door. And I never opened it for her again.